Hello everyone, this is Dr. Mariam Narona. In this video, we will be looking at the meaning and definition of the term contract, and we will study or discuss the essential elements of a valid contract. So let's explore. Now, just to make it clear, this video covers topics 1.1.4 and 1.1.5 as per the syllabus in the third year BCom course 2013 pattern of Savitri by Phule Pune University for the subject of mercantile law, that is business regulatory framework. Now, there are many definitions of the term contract, but we are going to first look at the definition as per section 2(1) of the Indian Contract Act 1872, which defines contract as an agreement enforceable by law is a contract. I would like to draw your attention to the words agreement enforceable by law. Now, we will understand what an agreement is in just a little bit and also understand enforceability. But please remember these two key elements of contract when we discuss this later. Please keep these in mind. Now let's look at some other definitions of the term contract. Every agreement and promise enforceable by law is a contract. This definition has been given by Sir Frederick Pollock. Here again you will note the use of the words agreement and enforceable by law, which we just discussed in the previous slide. Another definition by Salmon says, a contract is an agreement creating and defining obligations between the parties. Please note again the word agreement, which has been used here also. It's put a little differently. It says creating and defining obligations between parties. That is the addition to this. But what is common across three definitions which I have just mentioned is the term agreement. Now the definition by Sir William Anson. A contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more persons by which rights are acquired by one or more to acts or forbearances on the part of the other or others. Now this is a more comprehensive definition of the term contract, but again here note the use of the word agreement. Also note the term legally binding. So after considering the definition as per the Indian Contract Act and these three definitions, I would request you to note that the basis of a contract is an agreement or a promise. What is important as far as a contract goes under the Indian Contract Act 1872 is it is not enough just to have an agreement or promise, but that agreement or promise should be enforceable by law. There must be two or more parties to a contract. That is, a person cannot enter into a contract with himself. The contract gives rise to rights or obligations, and it may involve certain acts or forbearances on the part of the parties connected with the contract or the people who are forming the contract. So these are the elements or features of contract which we can discover from the definitions which we have just discussed. Before we take up the essential elements of a valid contract, I'd just like to sum up as far as the meaning and definition of the term contract is concerned, that a contract, if we have to express it as a mathematical equation for the ease of remembering, a contract is equal to agreement plus legal enforceability. So how is an agreement formed? We will be discussing it in a little bit, but so agreement plus legal enforceability gives rise to a contract. Now let's look at the essential elements of a valid contract. Now the formation of a contract requires two or more parties, that is the person who makes the offer and another person who accepts it. One person cannot enter into a contract with himself, so you need a minimum of two people. You may have more than two people, but a minimum of two people to form a valid contract. The second feature of a valid contract is offer and acceptance, that is agreement. Just like we can express contract as a mathematical equation as agreement plus legal enforceability is equal to contract, in the same way agreement equals offer plus acceptance. So an offer is made and the somebody else accepts it, and therefore that forms an agreement. If an offer is made and no one accepts it, or the person to whom it has been made, that person does not accept it, then there is no contract. Third aspect of a valid contract is the intent to create legal relationship. That means, now let's just say somebody invites you home for lunch or dinner or for tea. The intention of that offer is not to create a legal relationship. It is just some social interaction purpose. Now it has the elements, if you go to see, there is an agreement, but it is a social agreement. So somebody has offered you, invited you, you have accepted, and that becomes an agreement, but it is not legally enforceable. Now if you order, on the other hand, if you order food at a restaurant or on a food delivery app and that is not delivered to you, or the right dish is not delivered to you, you can ask for a refund or a replacement. But if you accept an offer to have lunch or dinner and you don't turn up at the person's house, that person cannot ask you for money, saying that okay, I spent so much money, so much time and effort in preparing food that day and you did not come to my house. So that is the difference. There is the intent to create legal relationship is there when you enter into a sort of a commercial give and take, but not in case of a social give and take. Now further, the formation of a valid contract or the other elements of a valid contract, in that we will just talk a little bit about the concept of free consent. That is, and the person who's accepting the offer, whether his consent to the contract was free or not. That is critical. Now consent means when both parties agree to something and they agree in the same sense. Now free consent is said to be free when it is not caused by coercion, undue influence, fraud, misrepresentation or mistake. I will be explaining each one of these in detail in the section on free consent. Please refer to that video ahead when it will be posted or shared. So for right now, let's just say that a consent is said to be free when it is not caused by force or pressure, and it is not caused due to any of these 5 reasons: coercion, fraud, undue influence, misrepresentation or mistake. The parties to a contract, that is the offerer and the offeree, or the promiser or the promisee, they should be competent to contract. Now when we say competent to contract, we mean that a person is competent to contract when he or she has attained the age of majority, is of sound mind, and is not disqualified from contracting under any law which is applicable to him or her, or which he or she is governed by. This also I will be explaining in detail in the section in a separate video on competent parties or capacity of parties. Please refer to that. But for right now, it would suffice to say that a person is competent to contract if he or she is above the age of 18 or 21 years, as the case may be, depending on what we are talking about. Then the person is of sound mind, has rational judgment, and is capable of taking his or her decisions independently through rational thinking, and he or she is not disqualified from contracting under any law which is applicable to him or her. Now, the next element, essential element of a valid contract is that of lawful object. Now, object is the purpose of the contract. Why are you forming the contract? The objective should be lawful. So, something like if you are renting out a certain space, if you rent it out for the purpose of running an office or a canteen or a catering service or a restaurant, something which is a legal activity or a salon, but if you are renting it out to somebody to run a gambling den, say, then that is an unlawful object. So the purpose for which you are entering into the contract, that should be lawful, it should be legal. Then lawful consideration. Now when we say lawful consideration, we mean that whatever you get, consideration is the price for which you purchase the promise, you buy the promise of the other person. So whatever is exchanged between parties is consideration. So it is like you buy a book and that book costs 200 rupees. So you give the seller 200 rupees, the seller gives you the book. For you the book is the consideration, for the seller 200 rupees is the consideration. Now when you talk about what you are exchanging, that should be lawful. Like something like if you are people are accepting drugs or that in exchange for something under a contract, then that is not lawful consideration. When you look at the remaining elements of a valid contract, that is the certainty and possibility of performance. That is, whether the contract, the purpose for which you're, the object with which you're forming the contract, or whatever rights or obligations you are trying to create and which will arise as a result of that contract, whether they are certain and whether they are possible. So you cannot enter into a contract with somebody saying that, okay, I will jump off this cliff and I am not going to break a single bone, you pay me so much for it. Or where you bet on weather, or and say that, okay, today it is going to rain, or and I will, you have to give me so much if it rains. Or people do these things. There are many things when we discuss, you might feel like, oh, but these things happened, or don't people bet with their friends? Well, then that is not a legally enforceable contract. That is important. You may bet with a friend, that friend may pay you money if you win, but then that is not a legally enforceable contract. You cannot go to any court of law and try to enforce that against your friend if he or she does not pay up. Then agreements not declared to be void. This is very important. Now, which agreements are declared to be void? There are many, but let's just say something which is it's agreements not declared to be void, in that you have if you are entering into a contract which prevents the marriage between two consenting adults, or an agreement to prevent somebody from pursuing a valid and a legal vocation or an occupation, then such agreements, those are you cannot come up with such agreements and expect that they will be having some legal enforceability. You may find that people do enter into these contracts or agreements, but they are not permissible, they are not valid contracts. There's a whole section on this, agreements not declared to be void, and I will be discussing this thereafter in that video separately. Then the last element of a valid contract is legal formalities. That is, what are the, if at all any legal formalities are required to be fulfilled, that you fulfill those. So if you are renting out an accommodation, you have to have a leave and license agreement that has to be registered, notarized, whatever. But if you are buying vegetables from a vegetable vendor who comes with a hand cart door to door, there you may not require any legal formalities. So those are the essentials of a valid contract. So just to sum up, in this video we have understood the meaning and definition of contract. We've understood that a contract is equal to agreement plus legal enforceability. An agreement is equal to an offer plus acceptance of the offer. There are two parties to a contract, a valid contract: offerer, offeree, promisor, promisee, proposer, and person accepting the proposal. These are the terms which can be used. The intent to create legal obligations or relationships is there when the offer and acceptance is made. That time the agreement is formed, which is the basis of a contract, formation of a contract. The consent of parties to the contract should be free. The parties should be competent to contract. There should be a lawful object and lawful consideration. It should be possible to perform, and to perform the contract there should be certainty and possibility of performance. The agreement should not be declared to be void, and if required and applicable, certain legal formalities must be fulfilled. So thank you. I hope you find this video useful, and do hit like, subscribe and comment on this video if you found it useful. Thank you.